28 years later sequel trilogy may already have a director for Part 2. Danny Boyle's long-awaited return to the apocalyptic horror of 28 Days Later is already shaping up to be one of the most exciting horror events of the decade. With 28 Years Later officially launching a brand new trilogy, fans have been thrilled to see Boyle back in the director's chair for the first installment. But now, a subtle yet fascinating behind-the-scenes development suggests that Part 2 of the trilogy might already have its director. And it's someone with both the vision and the horror pedigree to carry the torch forward. While 28 Years Later is being positioned as a fresh start, it's also deeply rooted in the legacy of the original film. The fact that it's a trilogy marks a major evolution from the standalone format of the first two movies 28 Days Later in 2002 and 28 Weeks Later in 2007. With Boyle directing the first chapter and longtime collaborator Alex Garland writing the script, the creative team is locked in to recapture the lightning-in-a-bottle energy that made the original so iconic. But what's next after that? The quiet revelation. Near DaCosta may helm up. Industry whispers, bolstered by recent reports and scheduling hints, point to Near DaCosta, best known for 2021's Candyman reboot, as the potential director for the second film in the 28 Years Later trilogy. While no official confirmation has been made, DaCosta's name has been mentioned in production circles and linked to the second installment's early development phase. DaCosta would be a fascinating choice. Her work on Candyman showed her ability to update a beloved horror franchise while adding layers of social commentary and character-driven dread. If Boyle and Garland are aiming to build a trilogy that evolves with each chapter, DaCosta could bring a fresh yet consistent voice to continue the momentum, especially as the world of the Rage virus grows more complex and global. Why Boyle may step aside after Part 1. Danny Boyle's involvement in the first installment is significant, but it's no surprise he might only direct the opening chapter. Boyle is known for his reluctance to repeat himself, and while his love for 28 Days Later is well documented, he's more of a cinematic sprinter than a marathon runner when it comes to franchise storytelling. By directing the first part and establishing the trilogy's tone, he can leave behind a clear creative vision for others to follow. It's a strategy reminiscent of how he handled Trainspotting and T2 Trainspotting, returning when he felt the story was right, but never overstaying his welcome. If DaCosta is being lined up for Part 2, it would indicate Boyle and Garland are carefully curating who inherits the world they're rebuilding, rather than leaving future installments in the hands of random studio choices. The tricky legacy of 28 Weeks Later. Any director stepping into this universe has to contend with the legacy of 28 Weeks Later, which, while ambitious and visually compelling, lacked the intimacy and character focus of Boyle's original. It leaned more on spectacle and militarized horror, which, while effective in its own right, didn't have the same emotional core that made 28 Days Later a genre-defining masterpiece. DaCosta's ability to blend atmosphere, character, and thematic depth could strike a balance between the raw survival horror of the first film and the larger-scale narrative of the sequel. If 28 Years Later starts small and intense, Part 2 could expand outward, and DaCosta's experience in crafting both psychological and societal horror could make her the perfect fit. A trilogy with purpose. One of the most exciting elements about this new trilogy is that it appears to have a clear, unified creative direction. Garland and Boyle, reuniting after decades apart, are not just revisiting a universe they helped define, they're planning its evolution. This isn't just a revival for the